The music that will be playing today. So we have us towards the end, a woman named Cecile Chaminade, Lily Bollinger, who else? Amy Beach, as well as Claire Schumann. And most of these composers are from the 19th century. So I'm going to be playing some nice music. I have some flowers and lasers on Instagram today. It's always good fun. And I do have an article, an academic article to reference in this discussion. Oh, this is funny. My pair. I've got the green screen going on Instagram, and my pair is totally invisible. So yeah, let me get to drinking some tea first before we get into the article and the rest of the fun stuff for today. Right, so here's our tea here. It's just kind of like a mid-grade, kind of a broken grade black tea from Second Flush in Darjeeling. But very strong, prominent muscatel notes to it, which is really what a lot of people are looking for in Second Flush Darjeelings, is that muscatel grape essence, which this tea has. Everybody have a nice weekend? Sorry for my muting when I first launched, guys. Sometimes you can't. Oh, thank you, Sadie Fox. Thank you for letting me know that. You can't get everything perfect, you know? There's always got to be something. Sadie Fox, welcome to the stream. I don't think I've seen you before. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Happy International Women's Day. You know, Women's Day is something for all of us to celebrate. And it's so funny, there's always like some meme or joke about why isn't there Men's Day? And it's like today should be Men's Day as well. Because when women are empowered and mobilized, men win too. When women are objectified and indentured, it may feel like it's a better deal for men and for the family, but in the long run, it is actually better when women have positions of equality and leadership decision making. Not to say that they should be the only ones in charge, but when you have the two feminine and masculine energies working together, you have a much more diverse and encompassing strategy. And this has been seen time and time again throughout the business community, that companies that have female leadership tend to have higher stock values. Speaking of women, my Gaiwan I'm using today is made by Marie Gardner, a wonderful woman in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in their pottery studio. Her and her partner have a studio there that is handmade. It's actually a nonprofit. They run as a nonprofit, but Marie does manage an Etsy page where you can find wares like this, as well as several others for buying. And that's on Etsy. Let me get the page up. That way I can give her the shout out. Yeah, you can support small female-owned business at this Etsy shop. Marie is an incredible artist. She doesn't just do tea wares and ceramics. She also does oil paintings, watercolors. She does do commissions. She does a lot of fandom art. So, you know, just kind of a cool person on the internet to know. They're very active. Now she's gotten very big into TikTok. That's there. All right. Yeah, she's very into TikTok now. All right, I'm gonna get brewing the tea. I just warmed everything up to prime all of the wares so that they are not too cold when I brew the tea in. Oh, that smells wonderful. Now, I will share the story of Yonku with you. I've shared her story several times on my stream, as well as my virtual tea tasting classes, but she has a story that cannot be shared too much. Her story is incredible, and I'm really proud to be working with her and supporting her and her family in their endeavor to become artisanal tea producers in Darjeeling, which is not known for independent family-owned, artisanal tea production. It's mostly large-scale colonial-style tea estates and factories with some minimal small tea growers that contribute their green leaf. And actually, Yonku started out in that business. She is a Nepali or Gorkha person, local to the Mirik area of Darjeeling, India. And oh, hi, Universitet. My day's going really well. I'm based in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we are blessed with beautiful weather currently right now. Not always, people always talk about how hot it gets here, which I actually like. I like it a lot. But some people don't like it so much. But I went for a long run this morning. That's my form of meditation, the breathing, and of course the sweating and the heart rate and all those things that you're like viscerally connected to while you're running are all very helpful in getting you into that flow state. But it's always so much more delightful to experience that while the sun is out. There's a slight breeze in the air, which makes it tolerable compared to the summers here, which are quite hot. I'm definitely not able to run in the middle of the day during the summers here in Las Vegas. I'm just decanting the tea now. You saw I didn't steep the tea for longer than just about 45 seconds there. Very short steep. How has your day been? Universitet? I'm sorry if I can't read your name. The text of your screen name is almost the same color as the backlight. So I hope you're having a good day. Happy International Women's Day, a day that we should all celebrate and have fun with. It's a day for everybody to feel empowered and to feel mobilized. Call your mother, say thank you if you have that fortune and ability. I understand not everybody does. Look at that beautiful color. Gorgeous. Oh, you guys just had a birthday party. Well, that's fun. I hope you guys had a lot of good fun and enjoyed the socializing, which is a very unique activity these days during a pandemic. What'd you guys do? Did you guys have a nice meal together? Did you guys go throw some axes? I know that's a really popular activity to do with your friends now. Axe throwing, getting drunk and axe throwing. So Yonku, the woman behind this tea, she comes from the Mirik area. And her family all grew up in the tea plantations, in the colonial era tea plantations. When she was a young woman, she became very entrepreneurial. I've heard stories about her from strangers in Darjeeling, actually, that know her. She's very well known in the whole area. She used to have a truck full of different wares, not all tea-related things, a lot of just knickknacks and things that you think going to Walmart for, and she'd just travel around and set up shop and make things available to different communities throughout the Darjeeling area. And that led to her getting involved in another business where she would collect and sell the harvested green leaf from the tea growers in the area to the factories. All the famous tea factories of Darjeeling, the famous tea estates, they are producing far more than what they are able to grow in their own gardens. So they buy harvested green leaf from the local small tea growers in the area. So she started to facilitate the aggregation and the selling and essentially being a broker for these small tea growers in her community. And it worked out fine in the beginning. Everybody was happy. Everybody was making money. But then over time, as things happen in the tea industry, the market pressures on these tea producers became too much, and they started to put the pressure onto her, onto the Gorkha small tea growers, saying either we can't pay a high enough price for this leaf, or we just can't pay at all. And so this woman, I just love her so much. She wouldn't take no for an answer. So she tells these guys, you know what? You guys are just taking advantage of us. I'm going to make my own factory and we're going to make our own tea. So that way we don't have to be slave to your system. And it took her about 8 years, and she did it. She found a humble place for her and her family to settle in a village called Bunkalung, also in the Merrick area, and started a small tea factory where they're making mostly orthodox teas, more commercial grade teas, but they do have a pretty significant line of artisanal handcrafted teas, which this is definitely one of those. There's even more premium than this that they make. And so they're able to make a higher price for the tea that they make, and then in turn, return more of that to the small tea growers that they work with in their community. But she's a lion. She's a lion. It's interesting. In India, it's really popular to put some type of idol or some type of shrine to a god, or one of the Hindi gods, or some other symbol that represents what you want the energies of your space to be. So a lot of times you will see the Hindi gods. You'll see like basically a shrine in the back of the factory, the tea factory. But this woman, Yanku, she's got images, large images of lions ferociously tearing at their prey around the factory. I just love that so much. I really appreciate Yanku and everything that she represents in her community. So I will be able to re-steep this tea several times over. So as we're talking and having this conversation, I will continue to drink more of the tea and let you know how it changes over time. The tea is actually quite light. You can see how broken it is. It's not big full leaves. A lot of times when you see me brewing tea on here, I'm working with very large leaf sets, but here the leaf is quite broken up, which for the most part is a note on the quality, and so that's why I say that this is like a mid-grade tea. It's priced accordingly as well, even though it is coming from very artisanal craft small farms. Yeah, thank you for the follows, guys. We have Universitet, as well as Rudai Pohui. Thanks for the follow, guys. You may notice on our stream today something unique, that we're affiliate. I've turned on our affiliate status. It's been a decision that I've been sitting on for months now. But I feel like the level of quality of the content that we're making here, especially with artists and with musicians, I feel like we really can boost up the quality of the content more with having channel points and also fun, coveted position of being Bitcoin's best friend. You guys know Bitcoin. I know everybody wants to be his best friend, so we're going to bring that opportunity to stream. We got ASMR. We got Bitcoin ASMR with Chicharron. That's always a favorite activity of ours. So even though I don't have all of those things posted now, they will get posted so that you know what Bitcoin will basically be in charge of all the bits that come in, all the bits that get cheered. So we'll have different activities for you guys to engage with Bitcoin on, including giving him treats and having him do tricks. But I think what everybody is going to really be excited about is the prospect of becoming Bitcoin's best friend. And I think that this will be either a monthly or a bi-weekly position that will be announced on the stream, where Bitcoin will give you all of his Doge love. He'll give you all of it. Let's see here. All right, so I think we should move on. We should move on. I've brewed my tea. Introduced the story of Yonku Tamang. Let's read some statistics. So here is an article published by the Castell. This is called the Castell Project. Oh dear. It's not. Oh, you know what? Barely, because I have. There we go. Oh, it's still not showing up. What the heck? What the heck? That's the reason why. Excuse me, I thought I had everything formatted and ready to go. Seems as if I didn't. It's okay. So this is by the Castell Project, called Women in Hospitality Industry Leadership 2020 report. So this was the most up-to-date statistics and other information that I could find. Oh, that's cool. I've got the green screen on it, so all of it looks kind of cool and psychedelic where it's green. And let me turn that off so that way it will be easy for everybody to read. All right. So let's see. The goal of the Castell Project is for women to hold more than 1 in 3 positions at all levels of hospitality industry leadership. We will talk much more about the common positions that women have in hospitality. That's on, the second article that I have, but this article is specifically about leadership positions, like executive level leadership positions versus just, positions for women. So it says firms with female CEOs and CFOs produce superior stock price performance compared to the market average, and firms with a higher gender diversity on their board of directors are more profitable and larger than firms with a low gender diversity. And this is something, actually, we were talking about this on Friday night. The reason why understanding the gender balance between the feminine and the masculine in the professional context is really important when you're talking about feminism and the mobilization of women. I know it seems like we're trying to mobilize women that are absolutely on the bottom, but it's like the leadership is really going to be the ones that make the decision that will ultimately affect those marginalized communities. And so having more of the sexual energy, and I mean sexual energy as in feminine and masculine energy, not sex energy, but having more of a diversity and balance of those energies will help make better strategic decisions on how to maintain status quo. That would be like the masculine energy versus making longer term decisions that are more nurturing towards the marginalized communities, which would be more the feminine energy. And that actually ends up working in the balance sheets. It actually ends up working in stock prices. It's not, this is not just a social initiative to mobilize certain marginalized communities. It could be a profit generating initiative. So this report, the specific purpose is delivering benchmark statistics, including this report to enable the hospitality industry to track its performance on gender, providing leadership training for women to support the hospitality industry in accelerating the development and progression of women, maintaining the women speaker in hospitality list, bringing executive women to campuses as part of the Castell at College program to share experiences and opportunities with college women as they establish career goals and initiate resource networks within the industry. So it's really cool. It's this initiative seems really great that they're compiling all the data, and that's the reason why I'm sharing this report with you guys, because it is by far the most comprehensive collection of data around gender and hospitality industry leadership. But it's also great that they want to extend this initiative into the universities, which we got to be there, but we need to even start this even younger as well. Because I think a lot of children, both boys and girls, make decisions and build up their values around gender identity, and those things do end up playing a big role into this stuff. They start making those decisions very young. Again, this doesn't have to be about sex. It's just about understanding genders and energies and where pursuits and manifestations should be invested to create a better life. Everybody wants to create a better life for themselves, even children. They have that innate desire. Despite progress of senior levels, women remain significantly underrepresented. A broken rung at the step up to manager is the biggest obstacle that women face on the path to leadership. So here are some key findings from the 2019 report that they did. So this is the 2020 that we're reading now. It says 7 women were promoted to CEO in 2018-2019, and the data set represented that is a 20% increase in the number of female CEOs in the data set. So even in 2018-2019, there already was some movement, mobilization going on. That's 7. That was it. 7 people was a 20% increase for a large industry, a very, very large industry. So, I mean, I know that 20% makes it seem like it's good, but we're still talking about very small numbers here. Overall, women held 12% of hospitality industry leadership positions in 2019, including chief, managing director, president, partner, principal, and CEO roles. The hotel company data set showed 18% of chiefs C-suite leadership were women, compared to 14% in the real estate-oriented conference data set. So even within the hospitality industry, there are different distributions of gender balance. 1 in 5 presenters at hotel investment conferences was a woman in 2019. Conference organizers and sponsors reached outside their traditional networks to present increasingly diverse speakers. This is a dramatic improvement since 2016, when the figure was 1 in 8. It is most important to showcase hospitality as an industry that offers desirable career paths to women in order for the industry to assess its potential talent pool. Visibility is key to advancement, particularly as opportunities in new fields open for women who have traditionally worked in supporting roles. Women in hotel companies remain most strongly represented in leadership roles in accounting, human resources, legal, marketing, and revenue management. Operations and asset management are getting stronger representation at the VP level and should see improvement at the executive vice president. What is that? Supporting vice president? I don't know. Above in the near future. Women are 21% of investment conference attendees, nearly flat over the past 4 years. Brokerage, finance, and construction continue to have few women even at the VP and director levels. They are not moving towards gender-balanced leadership as rapidly as their clients. 78% of talent professionals say that diversity is a top hiring priority for their company, and gender diversity in particular is the number one issue they are tackling in this area. See, so it's an issue. And that's the issue, is that it's an issue. It shouldn't be an issue. It should just be smart business. It should be smart human resources to understand that, you shouldn't have to place a woman to achieve this diversity. The right person should be placed, ultimately. That's always the deal. Let's continue. All right, we will skip. I like that. When women gather, the world changes. I liked that little quote there. I'll skip the methodology. We don't really need to see that. If you guys do want to see this in full, I will put the link in chat for all those studious friends out there. You're welcome to go check that out. Attending hotel investment conferences is a powerful way to build visibility and reputation, create a resource network, connect with mentors, and build business skills. While not the sole factor, women's lack of visibility at these conferences affects the opportunity for companies to develop their high potential female employees to C-suite level, particularly in the fields of investment and development. Well, I'll tell you why women don't like to go to these conferences. One, conferences kind of suck already. I don't think anybody really likes to go to these conferences. People will go for reputation and brand building and those things, of course, but if you're a woman, going to these conferences is going to be cringeworthy. I mean, I know from my own experience, I just say no now. And it's cool. I own my own business, so I can do that kind of stuff. I don't have anybody to shame me or, so I'll say no and I'll tell someone that, stop sexualizing me. I'll say that quickly. And it always works, but there's a lot of women that are not in that position to have that, well, first off, courage, because it's scary to tell a man that he's a sexist pig. It never really ends well. I have been noticing, though, in my experiences, that it has surprisingly been working out smoothly for me. It just takes a lot of patience and time to approach those conversations appropriately without, approaching them with too much emotion. But I could imagine for a hotel investment conference, any kind of investment conference. I mean, even the tech investor conferences that I would go to, man, really bad. Presence on the podium is even more powerful than conference attendance. In 2019, there were 4.2 male speakers on the investment conference stage for every woman. This is a significant improvement from 6.8 to 1 in 2016. So they have all these charts here I thought were kind of cool. We'll check these charts out. Kind of gives you a cool visualization of the gender balance here. So this is the podium speakers. So this is for every 1 woman, there's 4.2 men. You can see this number, has been improving since 2016. And then this is the breakdown of the actual people on the stage and what the diversity there is. So if it was a panelist, versus I see. So the women figure is the 2019 figure, while the other two are either 19 or 17. So you can see the comparable. So, higher chance of being a moderator if you're a woman, but definitely on the main stage. And that's interesting how it became less female in 2019 than 2017, the main stage. There must have been, women must have been hot in 2017. I don't know. I mean, this is not really important to our discussion here. Odds of women rising in hotel company executive ranks. This is a good one. So again, this is breaking down women versus men. So leadership total, 1 out of every 7 leaders is a female. Hey Adam, happy International Females Day, or Women's Day, sorry. I'm reading it's relatively academic report on the gender balance within hospitality leadership. So at the chief level, 1 out of 4.4 is a woman. Partnership or principal, 1 out of 14.5. And CEO is even worse, 1 out of every 20.4. So only 5% of CEOs in the hospitality industry are women. I am proudly one of those. But yeah, I mean, we stand on our own. The other chart here is odds of women rising in executive ranks. Oh no, these are the odds. This is not the reality, these are the odds. But I guess the odds are kind of the same as the reality, right? But it's interesting how the women have better odds of rising within the investment industry versus the hotel company industry. That is odd. So it's easier to become like a finance boss than to become a hotel boss, a hospitality boss. Firms with female CFOs are more profitable and generated excess profits of over $1.8 trillion over the study horizon. Companies are starting to showcase their female leaders more prominently at conferences. The ratio of female chiefs at investment conferences is improving, including accounting, finance, investment development, and operations. While improving, it is still more than 18 men to each woman in development investment roles. There are 554 chiefs in the 2019 sample, of which 14% were women. Yeah, so that makes sense. So here we can see how like leadership within different divisions of a business has a gender balance. So you can see some of them actually have more women. So in HR, there's one woman to every 0.6 men. So yeah, definitely find yourself with the girls in the HR department. Accounting is relatively close. There's 1 woman to every 1.4 men. Marketing, 1 to 1.8. Legal, oh interesting. There's more. Oh no, never mind. They swapped up. Why would they do it on that one? There's 1 to every 2.5. Accounting is accounting finance 1 to 5. Finance is 1 to 5.9, and operations is 1 to 5.8. Overall, the attributes that correlate with success among male executives were found more often in female executives. This finding refutes the commonly held belief in token female executives. Wait, I want to read that again. That seems like a lot to process. And again, today I am playing all compositions by female writers, female composers. So we're celebrating the ladies today for sure. Overall, the attributes that correlate with success among male executives were found more often in female executives. That's interesting. So this is a kind of untitled chart. I guess this is, okay, this is the distribution of women to men. We've already looked at this chart. Women in hotel companies by field manager through chief level. So in IT, it's 1 out of 13.4. Leadership, 1 out of 11.2. So man, IT is dominated by men. Interesting. Investment and development, 1 out of 8.6. Construction, 1 out of 7.9. Finance, 1 out of 4.8. Operations, 1 out of 3.4. All the way going down until you get to the points where there's more women. So revenue management, accounting, marketing, and HR all have more female to male ratio. This chart I'm having trouble understanding. Women in hotel company HR. Yeah, so your chances of mobilization and of promotion and of getting to a point of leadership are much higher in HR than any other field. Again, I'm not saying all these stats out because I want to encourage that, if you're a woman, you should go work in HR. That's your chances of better success. That's not what I'm just trying to state the status, like the status quo of where we are. And ultimately, the goal would be to affect the ratios at those higher positions of leadership as well as in IT. Tech development, that's kind of interesting that there's not a strong female influence there. And so, yeah, women also have a high chance for mobility within marketing. And then revenue management. Then if you look at finance, all the leadership positions are pretty much taken by men. CFO position is 1 out of 5.9, or 1 to 5.9. So that means for every one woman, there's 5.9 men. Yeah, no, 1 to every 22.2 men in the chief position of investment and development. Yeah, there's a lot of data here. Brands and franchise companies, including their hotel management groups at hotel investment conferences. in the leadership position, it's 1 to every 26.7. So I think we get the gist of on this. It goes on and on. So here's the numbers with percentages, if this is what you guys resonate more with. Yeah, you can see the lowest number is this 4%, which is in development. That's like investment development. That's like going out and pitching investors and bringing all the money in for projects. 4% in chief position for that. But that makes sense. I mean, that's also another, oh, here, I wanted to look that word up. Senior vice president, that's what the S meant. I'm like, what was the S? Yeah, what do you guys think of that? So, that's like the status quo of where the industry is looking like now and where women in positions. But I want to talk more about kind of the common position for women. And of course, adjusting and affecting the gender distribution and leadership at the top is really important, and it will trickle down to the everyday employee, but let's just try to wrap our heads around where, like, if you are not a leader, let's say you're not highly niche educated experience in management and you're just an employee, what is the situation for women in that case? That's what I want to look at now. That's what I always like to look at. I always, of course, want to encourage more women in leadership. That's why I do the work I do. So let's, there's a couple of angles that we could take to look into this. We'll see if this flows the right way. So here is an article from Harvard Business Review, which is a really great place to go get business information. Make this smaller. Oh, I need to make it bigger. Sexual harassment. This is a big, prevalent problem in the industry. It's pervasive in the restaurant industry, and here what needs to change. So this is published January 18th, 2018, so this is a 3-year-old article. So things could have changed. Overall, I think the narrative is still very similar now than it was 3 years ago around the issue of sexual harassment in the restaurant industry. Let's just read the summary here. Let's see how long this is. This is not such a long article, but we'll definitely read the summary. More sexual harassment claims in the U.S. are filed in the restaurant industry than in any other. Several factors that make restaurant employees particularly susceptible to sexual harassment. Men make up the majority of the management and higher paying roles. Restaurant culture still praises the customer as always right, and restaurant employees often rely on their tips, and women in the industry are expected to use their looks as part of the service experience. So how can restaurants reduce sexual harassment? First, they need to develop and enforce anti-sexual harassment policies, as well as establish procedures for employees to file complaints and for managers to address complaints fairly. Second, managers should be trained to recognize different forms of sexual harassment, to understand the legal requirements of maintaining a workplace free from sexual harassment, and to learn the proper steps in addressing complaints. Employees should also be required to take bystander intervention training so that it's clear what to do upon witnessing harassment. Third, restaurant policies should charge managers with protecting their employees with unwanted behavior from customers. So that was a lot. That's a lot right there. I mean, we can scroll through. I specifically would like to see some stats and numbers for us to look at, but there is a lot stacked against women in the hospitality industry. Women and men are both reliant upon tips in a system where the employer is not really the one paying them. It's more the customer. You know, a lot of states have policies where the minimum wage that the restaurant, that the business needs to pay that employee is actually lower than the regular minimum wage, but the opportunity for tips is what makes it worthwhile for the employees, because if the tips are good, then they should be able to come out ahead. But when you're working on tips and it's not a direct value exchange, and I will visit another article that talks about kind of the history specifically around women in hospitality and tipping and what's expected of women, then you can understand why everything is stacked against them. And then, you know, even if you do have a good progressive company that, or not even a good progressive company, even if you have your own personal ambition to like uphold justice and report when there's violations and do the right thing, more than likely your manager and even the owner of the restaurant, the chef, is probably deeply entrenched themselves within this culture. Hey, Grandmaster Ong, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by. Happy International Women's Day. I hope you are having a beautiful Monday, starting your week out right, and have the opportunity to celebrate the women in your life. We are currently talking about status of women in the hospitality industry, specifically sexual harassment. My Monday is going great. The weather here in Vegas, I couldn't have asked for any better weather. So nice. The sun is out. There's a slight breeze. I would say it's probably like 75 Fahrenheit or so outside right now. Just perfect. Just perfect. Actually, we're going to be having our weekly Monday night meetup in the Topia Tea House in about 20 minutes at 5 Pacific. So if you want to go meet us there, you can. Hi, Eric. Good to see you. I don't know if you've left already, but thanks for stopping by. More sexual harassment claims in the U.S. are filed in the restaurant industry than in any other, whereas many as 90% of women and 70% of men reportedly experience some form of sexual harassment. While the industry has had its share of high-profile stories, we know several of those, Mario Batali and all those other guys. It's even more insidious is the routine harassment of service workers by managers, coworkers, and most importantly, customers. Men make up the majority of management. We saw that in the last article we looked for. The typical frontline restaurant employee is young, female, and working for a male manager. 71% of restaurant servers nationwide are women, making an average of $15,814 a year. Women, particularly minority women, are often placed in jobs with lower status and are more likely to be hired by lower paying segments like quick serve and family style than for higher paying segments like fine dining. The industry's high turnover rate, 70% annually, can also contribute to this culture, as targets of harassment are likely to leave before making any complaints. That's something that I've always heard. You know, women, like, as soon as women see they're in a toxic environment, rather than trying to fight it and trying to bring justice and do the right thing or whatever they think is right, it's like, well, I'll just get out of here. You know, and I also had that same idea before I became, you know, a self-identified feminist. I always considered like my masculine character to be a superpower that would help me overcome sexual harassment or any kind of sexual discrimination. And so, yeah, as soon as someone was a dick to me, it was like, okay, well, I'm just out of here. Versus trying to actually do something about it. And now I actively try to do something about it. So even if you are my friend, you could be my best friend, you could be my brother, you could be a man very close to my life, or a woman, it doesn't matter who it is. If I see objectification or I see some kind of discriminatory behavior, I am going to address it right away. And if someone ever sexualizes me, I'm going to address it right away. I'm not just going to ignore it and hope that they learn on their own time. I'm going to address it right there in that moment. Not a lot of women are at that stage of progress because it's hard. It's hard to tell someone that they're a dick because no one likes being told that they're a dick. And they're probably not going to listen to you. So it takes a lot of experience and confidence to open up that conversation in a loving way that can yield some type of resolve. Quantitative studies show that service employees face harassment and mistreatment from customers on a daily basis, but often refrain from complaining or reporting these incidents. When they do, management tends to ignore them or change servers instead of confronting the customer. Managers can also be more forgiving of sexual harassment from customers. In an experimental study we conducted with 162 managers from various hotel and lodging departments, we found that managers perceived the same sexually harassing behavior as less negative when it was done by a customer than by an employee. Right? So it's actually the customers that we really have to address, and that's all of us. Like, even if you do work in the service industry, at one point or another, we are all customers. So we all need to be like super honed in and understand that like our behaviors affect people, and not only do they affect them, but like the perception of our behaviors, like it's a lot easier for us not to be held accountable for our shitty behavior when we're customers. And that doesn't mean, oh yay, let's be customers and be dicks to everybody. It means, no, like we have to do extra work ourselves to watch our own behaviors, because our peers and the people that we're interacting with are not going to be holding us accountable, because they need to put food on the table and they're not going to say shit because they want to make sure that everybody leaves happy. In addition, because restaurant employees in the U.S. often rely on tips, customers play an integral role in both the evaluation and pay for restaurant employees. Third, the restaurant industry is a looks industry in which women are expected to use their appearance as part of the service experience. Restaurants often have strict grooming and uniform rules requiring employees to maintain certain looks, but a culture that emphasizes and rewards looks can help customers and managers justify sexual harassment towards employees. Yeah, it's confusing as hell. Like, how are you going to work at Hooters and complain about sexual harassment? Because then it can always go back to that argument. Oh, yeah, she asked for it. Yeah, it's pretty sad. So they conducted a survey or a study of 76 female college students working in food and beverage, mainly restaurants, over a period of 3 months in 2017. On the first day of every month, the woman read a list of 16 sexual harassing behaviors and reported which ones they'd experienced at work. 20 of them reported at least one sexual harassment incident during one of the months. 23 reported an incident during 2 of the months, and 33 reported an incident during each of the 3 months. Over the 3 months, the women reported 226 incidents of sexual harassment. 112 incidents involved coworkers, 29 involved a manager, and 85 involved customers. All right, so yeah, it looks like the problem is actually most prevalent among their coworkers. Jeez. Of the 16 behaviors listed, all of which are from the legal and psychological definitions of sexual harassment, which do not include violent behavior like rape or assault, the most frequent behaviors selected were when someone at work told suggestive sexual stories. Yes, that is sexual harassment. 49%. Made offensive remarks, 46% made crude sexual remarks, 45% made sexist comments, 42%, and attempted to discuss sex, 33%. We also found that 2.4% reported being afraid of poor treatment for not cooperating, right? So that's that fear. Like, I'm just not going to discuss it. .1 reported it was necessary to cooperate to be well treated. What? You already were poorly treated. This is like, what's this called? This syndrome? It's it's kind of like Stockholm syndrome, you know, like where you almost like that's not Stockholm syndrome. What would it be more? What I can't think more accurately what that term would be, but the frequency of sexual harassment was routine and consistent over time. During the first month, 75% reported an incident, 70% reported one during the second month, and 75% reported one during the third. So yes, it's happening all the time. The harassment was often ignored and taken to be part of the job by both targets of the harassment and the coworkers who witnessed it. Specific examples we heard included a customer telling a server, "The food is as good as you," and another saying, "Are you on the dessert menu because you look yummy?" Gross. You say shit like that to me in my Twitch channel, like, you're banned. I have like a first offense. If like your first interaction on my channel is to sexualize me, you're out. Like, there's no argument. Sorry, guys. And girls, you know, women can sexualize as well. But yeah, man, so terrible. So terrible we have to deal with this. We have to deal with this shit. Servers saw it as part of the job and rarely complained to their managers. What restaurants can do to reduce this? Failing to protect employees from customer sexual harassment can have a negative legal implications for restaurants. For example, in Lockhart versus Pizza Hut, the employer, a Pizza Hut franchisee, was found liable for sexual harassment when its manager ignored an employee's complaints of a customer who sexually harassed her on 2 occasions. The franchisee ignored Pizza Hut's corporate policy that managers should first inform the customer to stop sexually harassing their employees and then ask the customers to leave if they persist after the first warning. By ignoring this policy, the franchisees was offered to pay the employee around $38,000. So yes, if you are hosting these human interactions to happen, you are legally liable for the behaviors there. There is no question that employers have a legal obligation to protect their employees from customer sexual harassment, but monetary losses from lawsuits are not the only consequences of ignoring sexual harassment. A high-profile sexual harassment claim can have a negative impact on the organization's reputation. For instance, people called for a boycott of Mario Batali's restaurant after multiple women made allegations of sexual harassment. And by the way, there was men making allegations as well. That guy was a freaking creep. And ignoring sexual harassment can damage employee morale. Research shows that increases employee stress, anxiety, burnout, and turnover in tension. So how can restaurants eliminate the notion that harassment is simply part of the job? Employees are more likely to engage in sexual harassment when they perceive that their organization accepts, ignores, and doesn't care about it. Restaurants need to make it clear to all employees and managers that sexual harassment will not be tolerated. Developing and enforcing anti-sexual harassment policies is a start, but organizations also must establish procedures for employees to follow if they need to file complaints and for managers to follow to address complaints fairly and consistently. Managers are often responsible for handling sexual harassment complaints, but if they are the perpetrators of sexual harassment, then employees should have a separate mechanism for reporting sexual harassment. For example, personnel websites should include online forms for employees to report sexual harassment to the appropriate human resource department. Probably a woman, remember? Restaurants often conduct internal audits of service quality by sending secret shoppers in. They should use this model by sending human resource specialists to make site visits and interview employees about their sexual harassment or other inappropriate behaviors. Hey Laura, good to see you. Happy International Women's Day. Second, managers should be required to complete training on sexual harassment. If organizations have the best anti-sexual harassment policies, but managers do not implement them, nothing will change. Managers should be trained to recognize different forms of sexual harassment, understand the legal requirements of maintaining a workplace free from sexual harassment, and learn the proper steps of addressing complaints. In addition, all employees should take bystander intervention training so that witnesses of harassment know how to identify it and how to help women who experience it. For example, employees are often trained to disrupt harassment by making themselves known to the harasser and asking the target for help with something. By removing the target from the situation, bystanders can stop the harassment, demonstrate their awareness of the issue, and talk to the harasser later about their behavior. We all love doing that. Third, the restaurant industry needs to firmly address customer-based sexual harassment. That's you, that's me, that's all of us. Restaurant policy should charge managers with protecting their employees from unwanted behavior from customers, and it should mandate training them on how to deal with harassing customers. For example, if a server complains that they're made uncomfortable by harassing customer, managers could move that employee off that table and be prepared to inform that customer that server should be respected. If customers do not comply, a manager can ask customers to leave and ensure that the server has not lost their tips by assigning them to other tables. Restaurants can be more proactive and illicit in communicating that sexual harassment of staff will not be tolerated. Yeah, thank you, Stephanie Johnson, the writer of this article. Oh, it looks like there's two writers. So she is a professor of management and entrepreneurship at the University of Colorado Leeds School of Business, and author of a book called Inclusify. That sounds interesting. I'm going to look that really quick. Hey, Laura, how you doing? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Humans have two basic desires: to stand out and to fit in. Companies respond by creating groups that tend to be extreme, where everyone fits in and no one stands out, or where everyone stands out and no one fits in. How do we find that happy medium where workers can demonstrate their individuality while feeling they belong? Oh, that's a book to check out, guys. This is a book to check out. It will probably make your life better to read this. Awesome. Happy Women's Day. Today's the day for women. All right, so here's the article. This is the one I was really looking forward to sharing with you guys, and gals and everyone, human beings watching this stream right now. So this is from the European Electronic Journal for Feminist Exegesis. This is from 2003. This article. So this is not relevant, and this article has nothing to do with like the restaurant industry directly. It's more of a historical reference. I found another article that probably would have been more direct in communicating this to us, but I'm still waiting for access from the author of that article. So when she gives it to me, I'll share it with you guys. But for now, we can look at this article, which presents an analysis providing that sexual hospitality constitutes a cultural template practiced in the Arabian Peninsula and around the ancient Mediterranean. Okay, so first of all, let's look at this other one. So there's this is the article I was talking about, the first one that I saw. And there's not a whole lot of research and study around this. So that's why I'm like really kind of excited about bringing this up, because this gives like a historical context of like why women are sexualized in the hospitality industry. And it's based on history. It's based on what's called sexual hospitality, which we'll read about in the other article. But this article states, through the prism of sexual hospitality explores the tradition of sexualized, objectified, and later commodified roles imposed on women through their hospitality provision. Sexual hospitality was an ancient custom whereby the host provided a hostess from his household to the male guest for his sexual pleasure. It is argued that in the transition to contemporary commercial hospitality, that's what we're talking about today, women's guest behavior or women's sexuality became a commodity employed to attract customers. So this is like deeply ingrained, right? This is not just like, oh, Hooters exists, let's sexualize the women. It's like, no, women were being sexualized from way before Hooters. It is argued that, here we go. In the past, hostess guest behavior was endorsed by societal and religious beliefs, whereas in the commercial sphere today, the sexualization of hospitality workers in some hospitality establishments, while not officially endorsed, nonetheless creates ambiguous and dangerous workplaces. There is a risk involved for servers, as some customers still view women's bodies as being available for their enjoyment in the hospitality encounter. A broad sweep of the literature indicates that commercial hospitality not only to some extent legitimizes, reinforces, and perpetuates these historical gender stereotypes, both male and female, and unequal power relations, but also eroticizes hospitality, making it sexy and leaving room for potential degradation and sexual violence. Studies that are more focused on specific time and cultural context are encouraged to consider whether contemporary servers are still hostage to patriarchal hospitality through sexualized commodification of their labor. Done. Hi, Marilyn. Happy International Women's Day. Yeah, so this is it. This is like deeply rooted. This is deeply rooted. And I look forward to getting this woman's article out of South Australia, Gayatri Wijeshing. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing your name. But for the time being, we can look at this one. And actually, I wanted to look up the word sexualize. We keep using this word sexualize. To make sexual, endow with sexual character, or cast. And so the word sexualize here, like on Friday, we looked up the word sexual energy or sexual. Sexual can be related to the actual deed of sex, but it can also mean like the gender, feminine, masculine. It could be the gender. But in this case, when you use the word sexualize, it does not mean to genderize someone. It means to make sexual, endow with the sexual character or cast. So this is related to the deed of sex, to make something an object of sex, right? So that's what we mean with the word sexualize. So back to sexual hospitality, which is the origin of why women are treated the way they are in the hospitality industry. If it was practiced, residuals could surface on some and this is all from the Bible. This is all like taken from biblical texts. Little discussed or little known, the custom of sexual hospitality sounds obscure and outlandish. However, since the early Middle Ages, throughout 19th and 20th centuries, right, 19th and 20th centuries, so that was just like 100 years ago, travelers' reports on the Middle East, North Africa, and Asia have recorded a kind of tribal hospitality that includes sexual gratification as part of the hospice. This social world is divided between affiliated brothers and foes, and if a stranger is accepted, he will share the privileges of brotherhood. Moreover, excuse me, guys, I'm sorry, I'm like not having it all there. Moreover, the stranger could embody a god in disguise who would bestow blessing and fertility on the tribe. Fear of virginal hemorrhage forms another motivation for handing daughters into the stranger's arms. Frequency of occurrences of sexual hospitality show the custom to be a consistent template and not a series of isolated events. In such societies, the host's honor depends on the satisfaction of the male guest, and likewise, his neglect would be the host's liability. The question to be raised cautiously is whether our anthropological evidence of tribal life can be set up as a model for ancient times, the biblical time or of Hebrew people. In his book, Sex and the Family, the Bible, and the Middle East, he offers a survey of customs and traditions regarding family values and sexuality in the ancient Middle East and biblical times. He first presents the conventional viewpoint that patriarchal hospitality was so highly regarded that it might override the strict considerations of women's chastity. The host would thus sacrifice the chastity of his wife, mistress, or unmarried virginal daughters to safeguard his guest's honor and protection. Genesis 19 and Judges 19 present two cases in which virginal daughters and one's wife are offered to outsiders when the protection and honor of a guest are at stake. Patai, however, proposes an additional hypothesis, namely that other cultural templates may have survived in these stories, materializing as their socio-cultural pretext. To support his hypothesis, Patai provides extra literary information from travelers' reports dating from 12th to the 19th centuries. Templates of alternative sexual codes would reevaluate the dichotomy of patriarchal hospitality versus female chastity, competing and culminating in irreconcilable conflict. He thus claims that the custom of sexual hospitality practiced in the region sheds a different light on the dichotomy of patriarchal code versus female chastity. The template allows to view these stories from a different angle. This custom, which has been reported from various Arabian tribes, throws additional light on the mores and the relative evaluation of hospitality versus female chastity, which constitutes the background of sexual incidents described in Genesis 19 and Judges 19. In order to classify a behavioral pattern as a template signifying characteristics ought to apply to its occurrences. The following characteristics would sum up to a coherent template. The custom has been practiced among tribal, nomadic, and decentralized societies and has been practiced from Yemen through Central and North Arabia, North Africa and Australia, and even Egypt to Afghanistan. The origin of the custom seems to be rooted in ancient times, surviving into and often tolerated by the Islamic era. Commonly, the man concerned is an outsider and not a tribesman. The outsider or guest would be led by a family member who thus plays the procurer. The template may vary from one community to another. In some tribes, sexual hospitality concerns unmarried daughters, while in other tribes, only married women will practice it. In some tribes, the woman would be led to the guest by a family member, a brother, a husband, a mother, or even an in-law. In other tribes of Arabia, the woman would look for a guest herself outside patriarchal hospitality altogether. In some tribes, sexual hospitality endorses complete consummation, while other tribes only sexual pleasure will be tolerated except penetration, in which case death penalty would be due. Once alone with the guest, the hosting woman would initiate the custom by rubbing the guest's feet with butter. The butter was consistent. Well, sexual hospitality may vary from one tribe to another and still be classified as a template according to genetic signifiers. A religious conviction impends on the custom. The tribes that practice it believe that if they failed to perform the rite, nature would show its displeasure by way of a catastrophe. This belief connects sexual hospitality to cultist mysteries that propagate magical correspondence between fecundity, cults, nature, and divinity. One could categorize sexual hospitality among customs of sacred or cultic sexuality. The custom seems inherently male-oriented as it concerns a situation of patriarchal hospitality in which female chastity is waived for the pleasure of a male guest. However, some aspects of the custom favor a woman's interest. Both the woman and the guest concerned have to comply, and neither may refuse the other. The guest must sleep with the hostess, disregarding her age or appearance, and vice versa. Other aspects of the template seem favorable to the woman as well. The offspring of this hospitable union will be fully accepted by the hosting tribe and sometimes may even take a special place in the religious practice of the group. Moreover, if the hostess finds the guest agreeable, the host will discharge him with honor and furnish him with provisions for his further journey. If, however, the guest fails to please the hostess, the woman will tear his garment. On coming out of the woman's tent, the tribal women and children would welcome the guest. On seeing the damage in the guest's clothes, he will be publicly shamed and chased away by the woman and children. That's so interesting. So yeah, you've got to do a good job. So interesting. Bearing in mind that the ancient world bounded sex to communal and individual survival, sexuality and motherhood must have been perceived as auxiliaries of crude existence. So yeah, this is it. Interesting, huh? Very interesting. Hey, Tanya. Happy International Women's Day. That was heavy stuff, guys. Did you guys know about that? Anybody know about that? Heard about that? Heard about sexual hospitality in the past before? I had never. And there's not a lot written on it. You know, I'm sure that's one of those things from the Bible, from our history that people prefer to ignore or just say, oh, that was just one of those things that we did. But in telling these stories and understanding those histories, we can better understand our current situation. Like, why are, in hospitality specifically, why are women so sexualized? Even in the hospitality of tea, women are sexualized. You think of all the iconic photos you've seen of, you know, the mountains and tea of the Himalayas. There's always at least one or two beautiful women smiling brightly. You know, even some of the images from like the 19th century of, you know, the propaganda of Indian tea industry had the same thing. Even the animations, I've seen animations of like tea pluckers, and it's like, those aren't normal looking women. Very sexualized, very welcoming, inviting. Even Chinese tea. So the place for women in the Chinese tea industry is, yes, out in the fields. Like, women certainly do a lot of work in the plucking and whatnot, the hard grunt work. But in the market side of the industry, you don't see a whole lot of female tea bosses. You don't see a whole lot of female tea brokers. You know, like people in positions like myself. Like, I'm very unique. If I was to go to an international tea conference in China, I would probably be the only female like leader or someone in a position of leadership at their business. Because the place for women is at the tea table, looking very feminine and graceful, and usually wearing very elegant, sexualizing traditional clothing. You know, and sexualizing doesn't always have to be like cleavage or whatever. Like, every culture's idea of what is a sexual object is very different. Like, for instance, when I lived in West Africa, when I was in the Peace Corps, like, you could, as a woman, you could be walking around completely topless all the time and no one would notice anything, because, you know, breasts are a very essential, understood part of the family and of children and taking care of children. But God forbid you have your knees out. Everybody gets, you know, so excited with the knees out. Yeah, knees are so sexy. You've got to control those. You got to cover them up. So, you know, if someone was to build a sexualization image, it could be just a woman with her knees showing, you know. So like, everybody's idea of what's sexualized is very different. It's not all the same. It doesn't all have to be Hooters and hot pants, you know. So every culture is dealing with this, and this is a deeply rooted historical deal. You guys been liking the music today? I've been liking this. This is nice. All female composers. All female composers have been playing. Not a lot of them, but there's some. And, you know, grateful that their art, you know, was appreciated. Hopefully it was appreciated at the time. I don't know. Obviously now it's appreciated if I'm able to find them. All right, I'm going to go check out Topia. So we will be having a meeting in Topia. I do not usually stream this meeting, so I'm not going to stream what's going on here with these guys. but I'm just gonna check. I don't know, unless Tef, are you here? Are you checking the tea house as well? Where dumb people? Where dumb people? Oh no, there's just one person. I see just one person up. It's probably Sam too. It is a windy day out there. You guys been hearing that, like, that's my warehouse door blowing in the wind. It's a heavy door too. We got some strong wind here. Oh, okay, I see. It's not, okay, so no one's here just yet. I can hang out with you guys still. Kitsu's there, John's there. But yeah, we meet on Monday nights in the Topia Tea House. And yeah, I don't stream, so this is kind of a cool place to just network, make friends, and not worry about being broadcasted to the internet. Although on Thursdays, we do a meetup at 2 p.m. Pacific where we do broadcast that. It's a lot of different tea business owners, tea enthusiasts, and others that come together. And we chat, have fun. It's not so serious, although it's pretty serious. Very serious. Tomorrow night we have a lot of fun planned for you guys. We're doing our tea and art party that we usually do on Tuesday nights. I don't know what time we'll start once we get set up. It shouldn't be as late as last week. Last week we didn't start until 9 p.m. because we were taking our time setting up. But now everything is set up and good to go. We should be able to get going a little quicker, a little sooner. And so yeah, Nick and Zoo did art. Jason and Sean will be coming in and doing their paint spills. We may have a musical guest or we may not. It's fine either way. We definitely still have a bunch more music from Sojourner, from our friend Sojourner, that we have yet to listen to on stream. So we definitely got all the jams. We got the jams ready to go. We might have a little dance party. Sometimes we do that. Sometimes. And yeah, by tomorrow we should have the emotes all ready to go. I'm going to be making those tonight. We have some fun emotes lined up for you guys. And yeah, Bitcoin's treats will be here. In fact, you know, Bitcoin hasn't even come and said hi to you guys today and introduced his new treats. He's taking a nap. Bitcoin, you ready to come over here and say hello? You want to say hello? Oh, he woke up fast. He was like, the treats? Are you going to open the treats? Oh, he's here. He's ready. He's ready. I'll bring him up. You guys can say hello. Actually, let me put him up on his chair here. Properly. Let's say hi to everybody. Oh, you are such a good boy. You're such a good boy. Can you guys see him? He's here. He is here. Gotta move you a little bit, boy. Sit. There. That's better, huh? Let's see. All right. So are you guys ready to see his treat? He's excited for this. He is so excited. Whoa! Look at this. Look at this. Whoa. Bitcoin, it's like 3 times as big as you. Look at that. So Nick and I are planning to maybe hang this, kind of like the disco ball over here, but it'll be the disco chicharron. Yeah, so we've got lots of treats. We got lots of treats for Bitcoin to enjoy. Look at the size of this thing. Like, even compared to me, you can see how big it is. This is just one big chicharron. Bitcoin is in love. He is in love. Yeah, so we'll have that out. We'll be having fun with that tomorrow. And yeah, you can donate bits to Bitcoin. You can cheer Bitcoin on and give him treats. That's what we decided we were going to do with our ambassadorship. Of course, we will have some Bitcoin emotes. We know you guys all love him. I do have normal size chicharron for him as well. So don't worry, guys. Bitcoin is always well taken care of and loved. Don't worry. Ever. Let's see, just normal size chicharron. Bitcoin can have as his treat. Bitcoin, do you want to show everybody your trick? Huh? You watch it. Here, you see it? Huh? You see it? No, you gotta watch it. Watch it, boy. Watch it. Oh, too far. Okay, hey. Oh, he's gotta go get it. He missed it. He gotta go get it. Oh, I don't see anybody in Topia yet. Oh, someone's walking around. Maybe it's just John walking around. Here, come on, up, 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 come on, up, up. Come here. Come here, you silly. Come here, you silly. All right, one last trick before we go. He's like, no, I'm just gonna jump down and grab it from the ground. Lazy dog he's become. But it's okay, Bitcoin, we still love you. We still love you very much. Oh, you heard that? He says, thank you for the chicharron. I am happy with the chicharron. All right, everyone. Well, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna head over to the Topia tea room, or the tea house. I'll link to you guys in the chat. So if you want to join, please drop by. I'd love to see you guys hang out, drink some tea, catch up. We can talk about sexual hospitality more if you want, especially in a more private environment where we're not streaming. Could be a good place for us to talk about it. I know it's a sensitive, deep subject, but it's a very important one for us to talk about on International Women's Day, as well as what's part of International, or I think it's just National Women's History Month. Yeah, we can't forget. We got to always remember and learn so that we can improve and get better for the future. All right, everyone. Well, you see the link for the Topia Tea House in the chat. You can use a Chrome browser to visit. You don't have to download anything. Just put your name in, your tea name if you want it to be a tea name, and I'll see you guys there. Who should we raid? I know I only got, well, it says here I've got 5 of y'all, so where should we go? But subs is probably done already. Let's go check out a female streamer. Pork and green beans, street fry, quick dinner. And they're probably making it right now. Let's go see Carrie the 8th. Carrie the 8th. She's a cooking streamer. Strong female. Oh, here comes Sam. All right, I've got to go. Oh, Sam knows I'm streaming. He walked away from me. Oh, that's funny. All right, let's go check out Carrie. Send her some tea love. Wish her a happy International Women's Day. Cook her dinner. I love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We're gonna have a lot of fun making art, listening to music, have a little dance party. I'll see you guys tomorrow.